It's space time!
It's space time. Let's do it. So I got a couple things for you. First, I got to see this, which is just beautiful. The sound of a black hole was recorded by NASA's Sondra X-ray Observatory. Of course, there's no sound in space, and this is only a few 100 trillion miles away, so it makes sense that they were able to pull the sound. Let's everybody bow your heads and close your eyes, because you've never heard anything as amazing as this. Let's enjoy it together for 34 seconds. Probably the most orgasmic 34 seconds you've ever had in your life. So try to keep the floor clean. Oh, yes. I'm so happy we have space agencies spending time on making these for us. This is going to change my life in profound ways. Now, you want to talk about scams, okay? When you're the only one who can make this shit, and you just put out anything and people believe it, do you think that might be a scam? You're the only one who can go there. You're the only one who can record these sounds. I would say there's nothing more glaring of a scam than if somebody claims to be the only one who does it. And how do they prove it? With pictures that are clearly CGI. Isn't that the most obvious of all scams? I think so. Let's look at another obvious scam. Here's somebody who says, this is sunset on Mars. Okay, well, what do you think this is here that is a glow? Because to me, I've been on Earth for about 40-something years, and I tend to think this is evidence of an atmosphere, of air. This is what happens when light hits the atmosphere. So when you realize there's no atmosphere at Mars, it's close to a vacuum. It's about 1% of the Earth atmosphere, if you believe their stories, then don't you realize that this is not a real picture? This is not at all what would... So think of the pictures we see of the moon. Let's go there and look at, I don't know, Apollo 11 pictures or something. Oh, let's look at Apollo, oh, not 13 is not going to work, they didn't go. Apollo 14. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to images and look at these beautiful pictures from the moon. Now, at least they did a decent job of what something would look like with no atmosphere, okay? Which would be this. Just a black sky with a lit ground, okay? So do you think that if that's the way that the moon looks in their minds, that this is what Mars would look like? It's interesting that this is 1% atmosphere and this is 0. Seems like quite a big difference to me. Wouldn't expect that. But again, people want to believe that we have remote control cars on Mars, and oh, he's the planetary guy. I bet he's got some more good stuff in here. Let's check it out. Yeah, because this is real. I can see a nice picture to choose for your thing. What do you got here? Open this photo up and look for the small white dot just left of center. It looks like Venus shining brightly in the twilight sky, but it's us. It's Earth from Mars. Yep, I believe it. And I do think that this would be the color of the sky. It's like a nice blue tint for the Mars sky. And look up, and what do you see? Look at the Earth. Look at us. If you've ever been more insignificant than this, I doubt it. I really do doubt it. Look at that. It's just, I mean, this guy's just, oh man, look at this. This beautiful photo of a cloud crossing the moon makes it look like our natural satellite has rings. What? Who? Nobody. This is not. Oh God. This wasn't even planned for. Like, we talk about a scam. What the hell? This is from an airplane. If you can't see that, I see an airplane wing here. You will never, ever see the moon like this from an airplane. So who is this planetary guy who just tells lies, basically? Okay. What is this photo here? Shows the Great Daylight Fireball of 1972, something I'd never heard of before. On August 10th of that year, a 3 to 14 meter diameter object grazed Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 57 kilometers and a speed of 15 kilometers per second. Then it went back into space. What's going on? Then it went back into space? Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. I think I could just hang out on this guy's. Oh, what do you got here? Saturn and its tiny icy moon Mimas. Yeah, I believe this. How can somebody be this gone? This gone. Okay, that's not real. You just post the same thing over and over again? What a joke. I'm not signing up. Okay, I'm out of here. You guys kick me out every time I'm on Twitter anyway. We'll just go to this one. later. So, it's just crazy. I can't believe these scams that these guys are pulling on us. So remember, when you start hearing what I would call narratives, there's a problem, right? When they're pushing some idea, they're getting it out there to people, they put it in the mainstream news, it's said repeatedly over and over again, social distancing, 6 feet, all these things, asymptomatic. When you get these trigger words, recognize they're pushing it in a direction, and guess what? It works. Now, granted, I believe the people watching this show are not falling for deceptions such as this. However, there's a huge percentage of people whose entire existence is based on what the news says. Here's one such person. Let's check it out and see what's happening here. Imagine that you're a normie. Sorry, geez. Imagine you're a normie and you are a leftist and you see this kind of news report. Your immediate feelings about Trump, your immediate feelings about Trumpers, your immediate feelings about white people, your immediate feelings about patriots, your immediate feeling about those damn constitutionalists. Let's have a listen.
ABC News, there's been a strong reaction to the raid on extremist and QAnon-related forums.
Sources say there's been a strong reaction to the raid on extremist and QAnon-related forums.
Sources also telling ABC News there's been a strong reaction from some extreme groups online, including QAnon and other groups.
There's been a strong reaction to the raid on extremist and QAnon-related forums,
including those that were active before January 6th.
Including those that were active prior to January 6th.
Including those that were active prior to January 6th.
Involved in the January 6th insurrection.
Including those that were active prior to the January 6th riot.
Some have been calling for violence and even a civil war.
Some of them include calls for violence and even a civil war.
Some of them include calls for
violence in online forums
and even civil war.
This was the top comment on the search on the pro-Trump site, The Donald, last night. Quote, lock and load with references to a civil war.
Talking very violently about civil war.
Searches for civil war spiked.
They're talking about civil war. Civil war. Civil war.
Civil war. Civil war. Civil war.
This is the kind of violence.
Tell ABC.
So remember, what becomes quite clear is that somebody wants a civil war. Okay, so this is the direction they're pushing, and it's because they need things to crumble. Okay, let's just keep it there. But we need to be able to recognize scams, lies, deception, psychological operations when we see them, because they're, at this point, painfully obvious.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole